Hey everyone, episode 5. And today we get to start a new song, which can be fun, but might also not be very productive. We'll see what happens. One of the things I thought I would do today is take one of Finn's suggestions, which is try something with an odd time signature. So the easiest way to do that now in Pico-8 is by changing this number. So say at 29, the cursor is only going to go until the 29th row and then stop or loop back or whatever. So with length 29, there's going to be some kind of hiccup in the phrase that we expect. So I might just start with writing a drum beat with that. The other thing I thought I'd try is I've noticed in my Pico-8 writing that I tend to favor certain instruments over others. So I tend to gravitate towards using instrument 0, instrument 1, 5, and 7, mostly because I think they're kind of like the smoother, tamer instruments. And not that I've never used 2, 3, and 4 before, but I just don't choose them first. So after writing the drum beat, I might just equip one of these instruments and see, maybe I write a bass line and then a melody, and we'll see what happens. But we'll start with a drum beat, and just to get a sense of where this drum beat is going to hiccup, I'm going to start with a very simple drum beat, and it's going to hiccup somewhere here, and maybe we can move this kick and snare pattern around to make it sound kind of more natural. But let's see what this sounds like. That was it, but we need to loop it. So let's put this in here and loop it. Okay, this I wish I mean, if I make this 28. Oops, gotta loop it here. Or should I just kind of make it 28 or maybe 29, make this sound interesting? Oops. It's just so it's so like lopsided. Really hard to make something that sounds kind of natural out of this, but I'm gonna keep on digging. It's really tough. So let's try something else. Very lopsided. I might just give up and just go with 28. That might work. Okay, this might be the closest I get. I mean, I think it's possibly like of all of the numbers I could have chosen up here, 29 might have been one of the hardest ones. 27 might have been hard too. Oh, 27 you can get into something in 9 or something, but okay, let's stick with that, and then let's write a baseline or something. So something like this. What's my speed? 14. So first I'm just gonna kind of throw stuff on the wall and just see what happens here. Actually, what I'm gonna do is just so I can get the lower notes, I'm gonna make this my baseline. Literally just kind of putting these anywhere. Making it sound kind of interesting in and of itself. Oh, and we also know that this is going to be 29 here, so we can sync that up. And yeah. All right. Just can't get over how harsh that sounds. I kind of like it. I'm already breaking my instrument rule. So I'm finding that I'm syncing up the kick drum with the bass note a lot. So So I could also do this to sync it up. That might sound cool. So what I did there was I'm using 4-2 and the slide between 4-2. I mean, I could take away the slide. No, I don't like how choppy that sounds. But in order to create more definition between these two notes, otherwise if I take out this 5, then it's just going to be like a wobbly bass. And this accent doesn't have as much definition, so I just add the fade out here. So I added the 5 here as well too, to just create contrast between the two notes. So yeah, it's interesting, like we've got the bass on the kick drum here, bass on the kick drum here, and then it's not on the kick drum here. So, but it might be good for contrast to keep it not with the kick drum, but I'm going to try it, keep everything in sync. Let's see what that sounds like. Actually kind of like that. Okay, so not sold on using one. I really want to try and use the harsh instruments, but at least it's in the instrument editor, so it's really going to be really easy to swap out. So that's pretty cool. I actually really like that. Let's make like a cooler snare sound. So we'll put that in instrument 1. So I'm just going to swap out all of the red 6s for green 1s. So we're not going to hear anything, and we'll just add the volume, take off the effect, and just let the instrument take care of the effect, at least for now. So just to start, we'll do something really quick. And maybe it can be like something like this, and kind of like a fade out. So I've got the 6 out front, which will give it like a little tick, like a hit, just to give it some definition. The other thing I can do is move this all down by, say, like semitones each, so it has a kind of a curve to it. Boo, boo. Let's see what that sounds like. Whoops. Whoops. Too much pitch on that one. I'm not quite finding the kind of the donk that I want. Yeah, I think I might just stick with a, sometimes what I've done is it's really hard to capture, like a snare hit with like more defined pitches just using one channel. I'm trying it by kind of moving in between the 6 and 3. Actually, I mean, I could also do something like this. That might be interesting. But the other thing I've done is layering. So you have one instrument that is pitch and another instrument that's noise, and then you just play them at the same time. I've done that before. So the other dimension of expression that you have here is just modifying the actual trigger of the note by changing the volume and the octave and the effect. So that's what I'm doing now. And then I often go back and forth between modifying the actual note and the custom instrument. See, that's kind of like a cool balance of hearing the tick, the noise of the snare, and then the donk, or the pitch of it. Lower this one down the octave. Okay, yeah, that's getting somewhere. Okay, so can't hear the donk very much with the bass, so I'm going to increase the volume. Okay, cool. So that's going to be kind of our foundation, I think, and that should be fairly easy to expand on. Like, so just by, say, copying this bass pattern and creating a second pattern, but with the same vibe and different notes. Like, for example, whoops. So let's say we can do 2 of those and then 2 of these. And just to kind of round out the phrase. Might make this a G, which will help move it back to the home C here. Whoops, I gotta change it. Change, instead of low high, we'll do high low. Okay, the other thing I'm hearing is maybe even doing this section a little bit longer. So we're just going to copy this section into here like this. So this might be a better loop. Now 4, we might expand on 4 a little bit. So that means we're going to hear this first pattern 4 times, and then it's going to go into this kind of development section, which is only 2 patterns right now, but we might make that a little bit longer. Yeah, this seems kind of like a nice rounded logical phrase. I could also whenever you're transitioning between like big sections, so in this case the big transition, well, not big transition, but like a transition happens between 03 and 04, you can think about a way to smoothen that out so it's not just like an abrupt thing. So if you've got the resources for it, you could even just adding or changing the note here just to lead into, in this case, we're leading into an F. And so here we can use this E flat to lead into the F a little bit. I also want to hear what it sounds to have like a double hit here. I think this is going to be a little bit too dramatic, but. No, I'm not sure how I feel about that. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like leading into the like the top of the pattern. You can, so starting with 2 and then kind of sliding into volume 3 and then back to 1. I could even maybe put a fade here. One of the reasons I like that is because we've got an accent on the last row of the pattern, and with an accent here, there's a bit of a clash, which isn't a big deal, but if you can kind of, if I smoothen this out, then you don't hear that kind of clash of accents, which, you know, again, it's not a big deal, but that's how I'm using words to justify it. Okay, so now I got to take that, and that becomes kind of like part of the composition of that pattern. So I've just copied that in. And what can we do next? We can start filling in some of these spaces. Let's use instrument. Well, actually, let's just do all custom instruments. Let's start with just this one pattern. And maybe we put it in the drum slot. So So the problem with having this kind of strong melody on all of these kind of weak rows in relationship to the kick and the snare is that it draws a lot of attention to itself, and it's kind of throwing the rhythm a little bit off kilter because it's just like it's so strong, especially because they're just like if I'm constantly putting the melody on these offbeats, then yeah, it's kind of like sounds like it's, I don't know, limping a little bit or something. I mean, maybe I'll just play it out a little bit and see where I go with it. Okay, and I mean, I should do this, I'll just do this right away. Once you get into the custom instruments, it's really hard to not use them. They're just so much fun. Oops. Okay, so now this should sound the same. Missed a few here, which, you know, could be cool, right? Like using red twos and green twos as contrast. It's actually kind of like, oh, I get to say happy accident for the first time. Look at that. Okay. Yeah, like it's just on the edge of being a little bit too ambiguous, just because with how strong this is. So I'm not sure this would make a really what am I trying to say? I'm not sure this would make a really good melody part. But it might make a good accompaniment, like those bits, like in the first song, like just things that are just kind of there and present, but not in the foreground. We might have to make this a 3-channel tune and put a more, I don't know, create a melody that's more in sync with the meter of the song. So with that in mind, now what I'm thinking about doing is, rather than designing this with a melodic shape, like you can see all the notes here, that's like it starts in this range, it goes up, and then it goes down, is just take maybe 2 or 3 notes and moving in between them. So we've got C and D sharp, and then F, and then C. So let's just stick with that pattern. Okay, and so our melody is probably going to go here. So let's sync that up. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. Might be just like good for a placeholder for now, and then we'll see what happens with the melody. The other thing we can do is, like, you can see, like, it's just 3s here. So just for some extra dimension, you can just like change that up a little bit. So kind of wiggling my fingers around the number 3, 2, 4. Yeah, okay, so let's loop this again, and I'm going to play with the custom instrument. This is so good with the custom instruments, is that you can hear how I just by messing with these numbers, I was able to take this, which was originally pretty much in the foreground. We thought it was going to be a melody, and just kind of shoved it into the background. I think I like the harder hit using number 5. Okay, so I'm at about 30 minutes, so I'm going to call it here. But we have a really good foundation for a song. I think it's going to be a 3-channel, good drum beat, good decent bass line, and we're just working on these bits. So next session, we're going to maybe not worry so much about these bits, because that's going to be a rabbit hole, but writing some kind of melody that's a little bit more in sync with the meter. And maybe we'll get into writing another section, getting into pattern 4, 5 there. So yeah, that'll be the goal next session. But yeah, fairly productive. So let's listen to this one last time. And yeah, thanks for watching.